No one knew how it happened. The gates were locked, the fences untouched. Security footage showed nothing unusual, and yet, Tao was gone. Somewhere out in the golden grasslands of South Africa, a cheetah who once relied on humans to survive was now running wild. But he wasn't running from something. He was running to someone. Tao had lived in the sanctuary for almost 2 years. He had been rescued as a dying cub, nursed back to life, and protected ever since. He had food, safety, space, everything a wild animal could need in captivity. But deep in his core, something was still missing. He wasn't born to live behind fences. He wasn't meant to survive in a cage, no matter how kind the caretakers. And so, quietly, with the stealth only nature could gift him, Tao escaped. But this wasn't a random act of rebellion. Tao wasn't chasing freedom. He was chasing a memory. The soft face of a teenage girl, the one who had once risked everything to save his life. Somehow, he remembered her, her scent, her voice, her kindness. After 2 years, Tao was going back to find her. 2 years earlier, under the burning African sun, a cheetah cub lay dying, alone, weak, starving. His mother had likely been killed by lions. His siblings were gone. He had no strength to stand. Buzzards circled overhead, waiting for the end. But fate had other plans. A rescue team drove by, volunteers surveying the area for injured wildlife. In the front seat sat a 15-year-old girl named Lina. It was her first field trip, and she was never supposed to leave the vehicle. But the moment she saw Tao, bones showing, barely breathing, something inside her snapped. She jumped from the jeep and rushed toward him. The team yelled at her to stop. The area wasn't safe, but Lina didn't listen. She knelt beside the dying cub, gently wrapped him in her scarf, and whispered, "It's okay now. I've got you." It was the first time Tao heard her voice. The first time he felt human warmth. Back at the sanctuary, Lina refused to leave his side. She stayed for weeks. She fed him with her own hands, cleaned his wounds, sang to him softly when he cried. No one expected the cub to survive, but against all odds, he did. And with each passing day, the bond between them grew. He began to follow her, purring when she entered, brushing against her legs. He was wild, but around her, he was safe. Then, one day, it was time for Lina to leave. Her volunteer program had ended. She had to return home, thousands of miles away. She cried as she said goodbye. Tao chased after her jeep, running until he could no longer see it through the dust. They weren't supposed to meet again. Back in the present, Tao's escape had set off chaos. The sanctuary staff were in shock. Search parties were sent out. Drones flew overhead. Rangers scanned the terrain. But Tao was already gone, and he wasn't hiding. He was moving, fast, determined, and driven by something invisible to everyone else. He crossed savannas, thorn bushes, dry rivers. He was chased by wild dogs, slept in caves, survived on instinct. He avoided humans, but he wasn't lost. Every step felt familiar. Every scent carried a trace of memory. He was going toward something, or someone. Meanwhile, halfway across the world, Lina was sitting in her room studying when her phone rang. It was the sanctuary. They told her Tao had escaped, that he might be trying to find her. Lina froze. Could that be possible after all this time? But something inside her already knew. She felt it. Without hesitation, she packed her bags and boarded the next flight. 24 hours later, she was back in Africa, back where it all started. She didn't care what anyone thought. She was going to find him. Tao, now on day 3 of his journey, had covered more than 80 miles. He was thinner, tired, but unstoppable. Somewhere in his mind, something was pulling him forward. He didn't understand time or language, but he remembered her. That was enough. On the 4th day, Tao reached a small village. The locals panicked when they saw a cheetah walking through their streets. Some grabbed weapons, but an old woman stopped them. She looked at Tao's eyes and said, "He's not hunting, he's searching." Lina was nearby, driving with a ranger through the region. Her eyes scanned every tree, every shadow. She called his name softly from the jeep. "Tao, Tao." They were close, so close. Tao had passed through the same valley just an hour earlier, but a loud truck had scared him, and he fled toward the hills. Lina got out, standing in the wind, looking out at the land. She felt something. So did he. He paused on a cliffside, breathing heavily, ears perked. Something was there, something familiar, but he didn't see her, and she didn't see him. A moment passed, and was lost. On the 5th morning, Lina refused to give up. She left the jeep behind and walked alone into the wild. The sun was rising, the sky glowing orange. She stepped into the tall grass and began to call out softly, "Tao, it's me. I'm here." Silence. Then, a sound. The grass shifted, and there he was. Tao emerged slowly from the bush. His body was thin, his eyes tired. But when he saw her, really saw her, something in him sparked. He walked toward her. She dropped to her knees, hands trembling. Tao paused, then ran, not to pounce, not to fight, but to embrace. He crashed into her arms, burying his face into her chest, purring louder than he ever had. Lina cried, holding him tightly, her fingers tangled in his fur. They stayed like that, girl and cheetah, no fear, no distance, just one beating heart reunited with another. Their bond had survived time, distance, nature, and now they were whole again. Some say wild animals don't remember, that they act on instinct alone, that love is a human thing. But Tao remembered. He remembered the girl who saved him, fed him, loved him when he had nothing. And Lina? She never forgot. Tao was brought back to the sanctuary, not as a captive, but as a companion, a protected friend. Lina visits every year, and every time she arrives, no matter where Tao is, he runs, not to escape, but to greet the girl who once said, "I've got you," and never let go.